Hey, John here. Here's lick of the day number 25. This is another Yngwie style pick and run. This one is fairly short, but that just means that it will be easier for you to learn. As usual, you can find the tabs in the description below and also here on the screen. And I will play this slowly once and then break it down. So we start here on the 12th fret of the high E string. Alright, so we start here with a thing that Yngwie tends to do a lot, and this is this single string harmonic minor pattern. So basically you go down 3 notes in any minor scale, and we happen to be in C sharp minor here. So we got 12, 11, 9, and then we shift down 1 fret down below the root, so we find the 7th. But then you go up again, so it's basically 2 groups of 3 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you repeat that over and over again. So it's a pretty cool sound. So I do this twice. I'm gonna shift up. And it's quite hard not to get a sliding sound there, but I kind of don't mind it either because it sounds good to my ears. So I'm sliding up to 16, and this is going to be a C sharp minor arpeggio. So I'm sliding up to 16, and then I pull off to 12. Upstroke on 14 on the B string, and downstroke on 13 on the G string. So. And then back the way we came, down, down. So from here, end this with an upstroke. So downstroke, pull off, up, down, down, down. Then I shift up again, this time with an upstroke because I'm ending with a downstroke. Shifting all the way up to the root here on the 21st fret. And then I pull off to 16, then we have upstroke on 17 on the B string, upstroke on 18 on the G and D, and then upstroke on the A string, 19th fret, and end up on the root here with a downstroke. So if we put the arpeggios together, so when it comes to practicing this one, I would basically repeat this a lot. But I will also use something that I call loop method or the clock method. I have a few different names for it, but basically it means that whenever you have a repeating pattern, like this one, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we actually have 6 different starting points. If you think of it like a clock, you can go from 12 back to 12, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, and so on. So it's the same lap around the clock, but you just start at a different time. And same thing with this one, so you basically have a clock with 6 starting points here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can start on the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And I can start on the second note, so I go 1, 2, 3, or actually 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. So that's 1 lap around the clock, so to speak. And I can start on the third note, the fourth note, fifth note, and the 6th note. And what this does is, as you can hear, that it sounds different than the initial lick and confuses the brain, but once you get through it a few times, it will really strengthen everything that you're doing here. And in this case, I started on a downstroke the whole time, which basically turns to picking around on every other variation. But you can also just keep starting on the correct pick stroke for that particular lick if that's what you're after. But if you're just after getting a stronger picking technique, I think you can just start on a downstroke, because then you will basically get that Petrucci, Steve Morse type of practice where you should practice all licks starting with a downstroke and an upstroke. So I think that's a good idea, because that will enable you to get a way stronger technique, and you avoid this sort of painting yourself into a corner where you can only play certain things starting with a downstroke, or it has to be an upstroke or whatever. So the more flexible you can be there, the easier it will be for you to learn new things, and that's always a good thing. And you can actually do this with this arpeggio as well. Just make sure that when you do it with arpeggios though, since you really don't want to change the picking here, since it's a very specific picking pattern to enable you to play the sweeps the way that you want them. So you want to make sure that the only thing that changes when you practice it in this way is that you start on a different note. So whatever way or whatever pick stroke it should be, or whether it's a pull off or whatever, that should remain the same. So if we do the first one, I will start with an upstroke. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Then for this one, we'll actually start with a pull off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And this variation is actually very helpful, because I found back in the day for myself that I was rushing the pull off, and I've seen that with a lot of students as well. So I think it's quite a natural thing to do. So just pay attention to that. But actually working on things in this way will put the pull off in this case in a different place rhythmically, so it will be easier for you to hear if you're actually rushing it. So the next ones are an upstroke, downstroke, down, and down. So just make sure that you play through the whole things, whatever looping pattern you have, and number each note, because I've seen a lot of students do this, where they do the first example, second one, third, and then fourth, and then they think they're done because they played all the notes of the arpeggio, for example. But this note is played twice. It's played as the third note, 1, 2, 3, and it's also played as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the difference is when you go 3, you basically go in this direction, and when you start on 5, you go this direction. Same goes with this one. It's the second note and the sixth note. So really pay attention to that. So it's not about the individual notes, it's the sequence itself. So hopefully that's clear, and you can actually apply the same practice methodology on this arpeggio. Only annoying thing is that the more notes you have before it restarts, the more combinations you have to practice. So in this case we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 variations. So that's quite a lot, but I think that's all right though, up to 12. I think after that it can feel quite unmanageable, but it depends on how much time you have as well. So feel free to try it on longer things as well. But in general, I try to use this technique when I have something that I can loop and the loop isn't way too long. For longer loops, like something like this, we end up having 24 notes, would be 24 different starting points. I instead usually use accents, meaning that I take the subdivision, in this case 6 notes per beat, and then I play through the whole thing, accenting 1 on each beat. So I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Then I would accent 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And then 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you kind of get a similar effect. I highly suggest that you start with smaller loops though, and basically go through all the fundamental patterns like ascending sixes, descending sixes, starting on each note, and really getting used to being able to start on any note of these fundamental repeating patterns. That will really strengthen your technique a lot. Alright, that's it for this one. If you have any questions, just post them below. Otherwise, hope you have fun with this one, and see you in the next one.